Today, we mark the International Day for Biological Diversity, and I am pleased to have you in the country with rich biological, ecological, and cultural diversity. At the outset, on the behalf of the government of Nepal and on my own, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to you for your valuable presence in this global dialogue on mountains, people, and climate. I also want to convey my heartfelt thanks for your very valuable remarks, comment, and very powerful statement you just made. Our collective journey towards recognition of mountains has yielded positively. COP28 presented a crucial opportunity for nations to come together and reaffirm their commitment to ambitious climate action. Let me recall on collective successes establishing mountain agenda at COP28 through the high-level roundtable on call of the mountains hosted by Nepal. We must build upon the momentum of past efforts to translate commitment into tangible action, preserving the delicate balance of mountains in environment for future generations. Distinguished participants, mountains are invaluable natural assets. These regions are home to 15% of the global population, and nearly half of the biodiversity hotspot host a wide variety of flora and fauna, and the communities with different language, culture, and traditions. Mountains play a pivotal role in the global climate system, contributing to maintain the global temperature and serving as water towers for billions of people living in the mountain and downstream, including coastal areas. Let me reiterate the recent reports of Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, which indicates that climate change impact in mountains is unprecedented. It is evident that occupying the front lines of the global climate crisis, mountainous countries are disproportionately burdened by the adverse effect of warming. The impact is intensifying. Snow and glacier melt across mountains region, alerting water availability and increasing extremes. This severely threatens water security and heightens the risk of disaster, impacting millions dependent on these water sources and both upstream and downstream countries. Climate change is a grave concern for us who are experiencing the peril of our pristine natural resources. The warming rate is disproportionately higher in the mountains than adjoining plains. Projections alert us that the average temperature increase in the mountain will be over 1.8 degrees Celsius by 2050, which we are discussing to limit global temperature to 1.5 degrees Celsius by the end of this century. Glacial lake outbursts, floods are perennial threats in Nepal and other mountainous countries. On current emission pathways, 80% of glacier current volume will be gone by the end of this century. Mountain economy is heavily reliant on climate sensitive sector like agriculture, tourism, hydropower, and physical infrastructure, and mountain communities and ecosystem have worst climate impacts. Climate-induced disaster and other impacts are severely affecting mountains' livelihood, resulting degradation of resources, declining production and productivity, and a displacement of people, their culture, their heritage, knowledge, and their practice. Climate change is differentially impacting to those poor, women, indigenous, and disadvantaged communities who primarily depend on upon weather-based livelihood, have limited information, resources, and capacity to cope with the changes. Distinguished participants, I firmly believe that a unified mountain voice is urgently needed to address the growing concern about the effect of climate change on mountain communities and the ecosystem service they provide. The urgency of limiting warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius must be complemented by a focus on regional and global cooperation to enhance mountain people well-being, boost ecosystem diversity, stability, sustainability, and identify sustainable development options that consider local requirements. I have strongly highlighted these issues in all national and global forums, including 78th United Nations General Assembly and the Climate Ambition Summit. Nepal is also championing this agenda in different international forums as the chair of the group of LDCs. In my previous deliverable, including COP28, I have strongly demanded the necessity of initiating a dialogue on mountains and climate change to realize the grip of the mountains communities, find possible solutions, and bring them out of environmental injustice. As a result of this conscious and systematic effort, COP28 outcomes recognize mountains ecosystem as critical importance for integrated response and agreed to hold an expert dialogue on mountains and climate change at the 60th session of the UNFCCC, subsidiary body for implementation and subsidiary body for scientific and technological advice, which is scheduled to take place next month. We have a long way to go in terms of forging global consensus and support in advancing the mountain agenda and finding sustainable solutions for mountains and beyond. Realizing the urgency to a prompt action to deal with the climate change on mountains, we have organized this international dialogue. I expect that this platform provides us the opportunity to collaborate, share knowledge, and forge partnership for collective progress to make meaningful strides in addressing the climate crisis and securing a better world for generations to come. This expert dialogue is not just an event but a strategic initiative that aims to strengthen, coordinate, and prioritize mountain-based action in the context of climate change and encourage mountain countries and agencies to collaborate on UNFCCC mountain work program and mandates. This discourse should allow government and stakeholders in mountain countries and their allies to better understand mountain climate concern and solution, share expertise and experience, and enable synergies. More crucially, the dialogue aims to produce concrete roadmaps and strategy for mountain at the expert dialogue on mountain and climate change in SAFSTA 60 session next month and beyond. We must not forget the significance of synergetic collaboration among the LDC group, G77 China, and other climate negotiation group of the UNFCCC. Our positions are crystal clear. Due to an appalling injustice inflicted on us, our people and mountain ecosystem are severely affected by climate-induced disaster, and we strongly demand for the justice. Delivery of adequate and predictable and accessible funds and technology is urgent to support science-based, locally led climate action. The full operationalization of loss and damage fund in a transparent and equitable way should be the foremost priority. We urge to put the most vulnerable women, youth, children, disabled people, indigenous people, and local communities in the mountains as the priority of climate action. Nepal is fully committed to the Paris Agreement, including achieving net zero greenhouse gas emission by 2045, 5 years earlier than the global target. We will fully utilize our hydropower potential to secure clean energy and already maintaining 45% forest covered land. Let me take this opportunity to once again welcome all the distinguished guests and delegates in this historic and important event. I am really pleased to recognize the gracious presence of the Honorable Minister from our neighboring countries, Honorable Substa Chair, high-level delegates from developing and developed countries, and wider representation of civil society, scientists, researchers, private sector, and media. I appreciate and thank Mr. Antonio Guterres, the United Nations Secretary General, for his visit to Nepal last year, collecting first-hand information of climate change impact from Nepal and from local communities who are facing the climate crisis, and his appeal to immediate action to address environmental crisis. Please join us in our collective efforts to protect and promote the mountains, mountain civilization, mountain ecosystem, and inhabitants of mountains, and seeks to garner collaboration and solidarity to tackle the common challenge posed by climate change in the mountains. Finally, I wish the great success in yielding tangible outcomes during this 2 days dialogue and your pleasant stay in beautiful mountainous country, Nepal. I also wish the success of the forthcoming international expert dialogue on mountains to be held in Bonn of Germany. We have all our support to make this event more meaningful and forward-looking.